Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's story. In this episode, what should have been the happiest day of Tu Tien and Jack's lives suddenly turns into an unexpected emotional battle. As their wedding ceremony unfolds in front of family and friends, a shadow from Tu Tien's past reappears. Her former mother-in-law arrives uninvited, demanding that Tu Tien pay off an old debt or risk having her wedding destroyed. Will Tu Tien allow her painful past to control her future once again? Or will she finally stand her ground and protect the life she has fought so hard to build? Stay until the end to see how this wedding becomes more than a celebration. It becomes a turning point. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Your support truly means the world to us. Morning arrives wrapped in a soft golden calm, the kind of morning Tu Tien once dreamed about during her hardest years. The wedding day finally begins. Sunlight filters through layers of white fabric and fresh flowers, casting gentle shadows across the courtyard where the ceremony is set. Rows of wooden chairs are lined neatly, decorated with pale roses and eucalyptus leaves. The air smells faintly of jasmine, incense, and warm tea. Everything feels carefully prepared, almost fragile in its perfection. Tu Tien stands inside the small room behind the stage, hands trembling slightly as she smooths the fabric of her wedding dress. The mirror reflects a version of herself she barely recognizes, calm, radiant, and finally at peace. Jack stands nearby, adjusting his suit, glancing at her every few seconds, like he's afraid this moment might disappear if he looks away too long. "You look amazing," he says softly, voice low and steady, grounding her nerves. Tu Tien smiles, taking a slow breath. "I keep thinking, what if something goes wrong?" Jack reaches for her hand, squeezing gently. "Nothing will. Today is ours." Outside, guests begin to arrive. Laughter rises in waves. Jack's mother moves gracefully among them, greeting relatives, guiding seats, making sure every detail is perfect. Uncle Dung coordinates the sound system, occasionally cracking jokes to ease the tension. Everything flows smoothly, almost unreal in how peaceful it feels. When the ceremony music begins, Tu Tien's heart pounds. She steps forward, arm linked with Jack's, walking slowly down the flower-lined aisle. Applause erupts, warm and sincere. Faces blur together, but she can feel their joy, their blessings wrapping around her like a shield. This is the life she fought so hard to reach. As the officiant begins speaking, Tu Tien's nerves finally settle. Her breathing steadies. Jack's hand is warm, solid, real. Every word about commitment, trust, and new beginnings feels deeply personal, as if written just for them. Then, without warning, a sharp voice cuts through the air. "Stop this wedding." The courtyard freezes. Heads turn. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. At the edge of the entrance stands a woman Tu Tien hasn't seen in years, but recognizes instantly, her former mother-in-law. She looks older, thinner, her hair loosely tied, eyes sharp and restless. Her clothes are wrinkled, out of place among the elegant setting. She steps forward without hesitation, ignoring the stunned guests. Tu Tien's chest tightens. Her fingers curl instinctively around Jack's sleeve. Jack stiffens. "Who is she?" he asks quietly. Before Tu Tien can answer, the woman speaks again, louder now. "Tu Tien, don't pretend you don't recognize me." A heavy silence settles. Jack's mother steps forward, confused but composed. "Excuse me, this is a private ceremony. Please leave." The woman scoffs. "Private? After everything she owes me?" Tu Tien's breath catches. Old memories crash back. Raised voices, endless demands, nights filled with fear and humiliation. She forces herself to speak, voice steady but cold. "You shouldn't be here." "Oh, but I should," the woman snaps. "You married my son once. That makes you responsible." Gasps ripple through the guests. Whispers spread like wildfire. Jack turns fully toward Tu Tien, eyes searching her face. She nods slightly, jaw tight. "She's my ex-husband's mother." The woman steps closer, pointing a trembling finger. "My debts are my family's debts. You know that. I owe people money, and now they're coming after me. If you don't pay for me, I'll make sure this wedding doesn't finish." Jack's voice sharpens. "This has nothing to do with us. Please leave now." She laughs bitterly. "Easy for you to say. You're rich now, right? New husband, new life, 50 million. That's all I'm asking." Tu Tien feels every pair of eyes on her. Her heart pounds, but something inside her hardens. "I don't owe you anything." The woman's face twists with anger. "If you don't help me, I'll ruin this day. I'll scream, I'll call the police, I'll tell everyone how heartless you are." Jack's mother steps in firmly. "Enough. This is harassment." The woman glares at her. "You think I'm scared? I've lost everything already." The officiant hesitates, unsure what to do. Guests shift uncomfortably. The once joyful atmosphere now feels tense, fragile, like glass about to shatter. Tu Tien takes a step forward, lifting her chin. Her voice is calm, but every word is deliberate. "You controlled my life once. You will not control it again. Leave." For a moment, the woman hesitates, then her expression softens, turning pitiful. "Tu Tien, please. They'll hurt me if I don't pay. You wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?" Silence stretches. Jack tightens his grip on Tu Tien's hand, grounding her. She shakes her head slowly. "My conscience is clear. This is my wedding. You have no right to be here." The woman's eyes harden again. "Then don't blame me for what happens next." She turns abruptly, shouting toward the crowd, creating chaos with her words. Half-truths, accusations, desperation spilling out uncontrollably. Guests whisper louder. Some stand. Children cling to their parents. Jack steps forward protectively, his voice firm and commanding. "Security, please escort her out." Two staff members move in cautiously. The woman struggles, screaming, "You think this is over? This isn't over." As she's pulled away, her voice echoes back, sharp and venomous. "You can't escape your past, Tu Tien." The courtyard slowly quiets. The music remains paused. The guests settle back into their seats, tension lingering like smoke after a fire. Tu Tien stands frozen, heart racing. Jack turns to face her, eyes filled with concern. "Are you okay?" She nods, swallowing hard. "I am now." Jack's mother approaches, placing a gentle hand on Tu Tien's shoulder. "Whatever that was, it doesn't belong here. Today is about you." Tu Tien closes her eyes briefly, taking a deep breath. She looks around, the flowers, the faces, Jack standing beside her. This life is real. This happiness is real. The officiant clears his throat. "Shall we continue?" Jack smiles softly at Tu Tien. "Ready?" She exhales, then nods. "Yes." The music begins again, slightly shaky but steady. The ceremony resumes, but beneath the vows and smiles, Tu Tien knows something has been awakened. The past has shown its face, and it hasn't finished yet. As Jack speaks his vows, Tu Tien listens carefully, anchoring herself to his words. Whatever comes next, she won't face it alone. The ceremony ends in a surge of applause that feels almost deliberate, as if everyone is trying to seal the moment tightly before anything else can intrude again. Jack and Tu Tien walk back down the aisle side by side, fingers interlocked, smiles steady on the surface. Only they can feel the tension still humming beneath their skin, a quiet aftershock from what nearly shattered the day. As they reach the reception area, soft music resumes, drifting through the courtyard. Lanterns sway gently above the tables, casting warm light over polished dishes and carefully folded napkins. Servers move efficiently, placing food in front of guests, who slowly begin to relax again. Conversations restart, at first hesitant, then gradually louder, laughter returning in cautious waves. Jack's mother takes control of the atmosphere with practiced grace. She moves from table to table, exchanging warm words, redirecting awkward questions, gently reminding everyone that today is about joy. Uncle Dung clinks his glass and cracks a joke about how weddings always come with unexpected excitement, earning genuine laughter and easing lingering discomfort. Bit by bit, the celebration regains its rhythm. Tu Tien sits beside Jack at the main table, lifting her glass when toasts are made, nodding politely as relatives congratulate her. She smiles, but her mind drifts. The sharp voice from earlier still echoes faintly in her head, like a storm cloud that hasn't fully moved on. Jack notices the tension in her shoulders. He leans closer, voice low, so only she can hear. If you need a break, we can step away. Tu Tien shakes her head slowly. No, I don't want this day to be remembered as something fragile. Jack studies her face for a moment, then nods. All right, we face it together. As dessert is served and the sky darkens into night, the courtyard glows with lantern light. For a brief moment, Tu Tien allows herself to breathe again. Then her phone vibrates against her palm, an unknown number. She ignores it. The vibration comes again, more insistent this time. Jack's eyes flick toward her hand. Is it her? Tu Tien exhales softly and nods. She unlocks the phone just enough to read the message. You think throwing me out ends this? I still need the money. Come talk to me now, or I'll make sure this wedding becomes unforgettable. Her fingers tighten around the phone. A familiar knot forms in her stomach, but unlike before, it doesn't paralyze her. It sharpens her focus. She's nearby, Tu Tien says quietly, probably waiting. Jack straightens in his chair. Then I'm going to make sure she leaves. Tu Tien reaches out and gently grips his sleeve. If you confront her publicly, she'll make it worse. That's what she wants. Jack exhales slowly, frustration flashing across his face before he reins it in. Then what do you want to do? Tu Tien looks around the courtyard, faces glowing with candlelight, friends laughing, family relaxed again, a wedding she fought so hard to protect. I'll talk to her, briefly, and then it ends. Jack frowns. I'm not letting you do that alone. She nods without hesitation. I wouldn't ask you to. They stand and excuse themselves calmly, careful not to draw attention. As they move toward the side gate, the sound of music fades, replaced by the hum of insects and distant traffic. The air outside feels heavier, cooler, charged with unfinished conflict. Under the dim glow of a streetlight near the banyan tree, her former mother-in-law waits, arms crossed, impatience etched into her face. She looks smaller than Tu Tien remembers, but no less sharp. "You finally decided to show up," the woman sneers. "I thought you'd hide behind your new family forever." Tu Tien stops a few steps away, posture straight, voice steady. "Say what you came to say." Jack stands close beside her, silent but unmistakably protective. The woman scoffs. "Look at you, all dressed up, acting like you've forgotten where you came from." Jack's voice cuts in, calm but firm. "Mind your words." The woman ignores him, eyes locked on Tu Tien. 50 million. That's all I need. You can afford it now. If you don't help me, I'll keep coming back. Today, tomorrow, whenever you think you're happy. Tu Tien inhales slowly, grounding herself. "I'm not giving you money." The woman laughs harshly. "You were always cold." Tu Tien meets her gaze without flinching. "No, I was afraid. There's a difference." The woman's expression wavers, anger clashing with desperation. "They'll hurt me if I don't pay. You know what those people are like." "That's your responsibility," Tu Tien replies. "Not mine." Jack steps slightly forward. "This is harassment. Leave now, or we involve the authorities." The woman looks at him, then back at Tu Tien. "So this is it. You choose him over everything else?" Tu Tien answers immediately. "I choose myself." For a moment, the woman seems stunned. Her shoulders slump slightly, and her voice lowers. "You've really changed." "Yes," Tu Tien says quietly, "because I had to survive." The softness vanishes as quickly as it appeared. The woman straightens, bitterness hardening her features. "Don't think this is over." Tu Tien doesn't argue. "It is for me." Jack adds evenly, "If you return or cause trouble again, we'll call the police. This is your last warning." The woman hesitates, scanning their faces, then turns abruptly and walks into the darkness beyond the road. Her footsteps fade, swallowed by the night. Tu Tien stands still long after she disappears. The tension drains from her body all at once, leaving her slightly unsteady. Jack pulls her into his arms without a word. "You were brave," he murmurs. She leans into him, voice soft. "I was terrified." "I know," he replies. "But you didn't let fear decide." They walk back toward the courtyard together. As soon as they re-enter, Jack's mother notices their expressions and approaches quietly. "Is everything settled?" Tu Tien nods. "She won't be back." Jack's mother studies her closely, then smiles with quiet approval. "Good. Then tonight belongs to you." The reception continues with renewed warmth. Speeches follow, some emotional, some playful. Uncle Dung tells stories about Jack's stubborn determination. Friends raise glasses, laughter ringing freely now. The tension from earlier dissolves into memory. When Tu Tien is invited to speak, she stands slowly, microphone in hand. The courtyard falls silent. "Today wasn't perfect," she begins, "but maybe that's why it matters so much." Guests listen intently. "Life doesn't wait for the right moment to test us," she continues. "Sometimes it challenges us right when we think we've finally found peace." She looks at Jack, then back at the crowd. But love isn't proven when everything is easy. It's proven when we protect it. Together. Applause rises, deep and sincere. This wedding, Tu Tien says softly, isn't just a celebration. It's a boundary, a promise that our past no longer gets to control our future. The applause grows louder, some guests visibly moved. Later, as the night deepens and guests begin to leave, the courtyard quiets. Lanterns dim. Chairs scrape softly against the ground, and goodbyes are exchanged. Jack and Tu Tien sit on the steps, shoes kicked aside, exhaustion settling in.